looking at the primary welfare and concern of the people, because that is a primary responsibility of government. The government also...
Are you aware of the situation that happened during the first exploration in Ogoniland?
Well, the first one.
In the last situation that happened that made them not to agree for anyone at the moment.
No, I'm aware that for more than a decade, oil exploration has not, been carried out in Ogoniland. They have rejected it, and they are saying, not today, not yesterday, for a very long time, that before any of such activity will be allowed in Ogoniland, they have to clean up the land. That was what gave rise to the UNEP report. And the report has been approved
and that's why
by the government.
If you're aware of the last scenario that happened during the last exploration.
Which of the scenarios?
Their were contaminated. They should allow it.
No, it's not as if, no, in other communities that you have the IOCs and the rest.
So the fact that
and the timeline is almost more than 10-15 years.
Isn't it possible that, okay, for that, the timeline is a long period of
yes,
time.
It's
so
a long...
while the cleanup is going on, the oil...
Asked about it, I'm sure they would have reached a significant level by now.
Okay.
They can be doing the cleanup while, the exploration activities. Okay. So, if the government really wants activities before, not until it was stopped.
Yeah.
So if the government want to resume oil exploration in Ogoniland, I would have expected the people and the government, including the IPREP that is currently running the cleanup, to care, provide water for the people. Then you begin to clean up, removing those, toxic elements, benzene and some of those chemicals that has polluted the water bodies and all of that.
Okay.
It's devastating. When you go to Ogoniland, there are people who are predominantly fishermen. But because of the effect of the way the environment has been polluted, that has become a complete far cry.
Okay.
So they shouldn't, properly looked at and presented before the government. Already there's a move to, and the government cannot say because of Ogoni, we'll just create a Ogoni state alone. So what now happened to the rest, areas, geopolitical zones that they've marked, states to be created from, even though we know that, these issues are still, generating a lot of controversies, both in the National Assembly and in the poll of public opinion. But there are issues that should be considered before this. For me, these are what they should look into. They should come together, look at the environment, look at the effect, look at how far your report has been executed. And
moving forward, Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State has said that his government will provide electric motorcycles to the Nigeria Police Force to enhance operations in the state. He disclosed this during the opening of the 5th conference and retreat for senior police officers in Abeokuta, the state capital. The governor also said the government is partnering a French company to provide drones capable of detecting crimes from as far as 8,000 feet. During his speech at the event, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, mandated all commands of the Nigerian Police Force to implement a comprehensive action plan aimed at reducing crime rates by 50% in 2025. The theme of the 2025 capsule is improving competent, intelligence-driven, and equipped to confront emerging threats proactively. I've had a conversation with you when the government, the FCT, had plans to, what was the word?
CCTV
No, it wasn't the CCTV cameras. I think the one of traffic violators.
Okay, for those, what we refer to as sinner crimes, And I've continuously said that acquiring these things and equipping our security architecture, giving them the required knowledge on how to use it, is not rocket science. Electric motorbike, fantastic. I mean,
what if they're chasing thieves? And
that's what I'm saying now, because I also know that you cannot place something on nothing and expect it to stand, no matter how fantastic the foundation is properly, formed and placed, so that if you are bringing in those electric motorbikes, they should have emergency can come up at any time.
True.
So we don't want to be hearing of situations where, oh, we don't have power to charge it. It becomes useless.
Considering the fact that you said this is something that should have been done 20 years back.
Yes.
Far back, and the Ogun State government has decided to...
Yes, so these things should not just be procured. They should machinery should be put in place for maintenance. Everything that, expertise, whatever that is required to make that idea function effectively should equally be provided. Otherwise, all these things will just, be like what we've seen before. You take 2 steps forward, 20 steps backward. In the next 2 months from today, if you go to these places, you find out that these motorcycles have been parked somewhere. And if you ask why, they'll tell you that, we still like to take charge them, just like the vehicles you give to police. Police will tell you that you gave us vehicle, you didn't give us money to buy fuel. Yes, they'll tell you that they fuel these vehicles themselves. So government should move away from this ceremonial show of, I don't know how to call it, but they should go beyond that and try to do the proper thing by ensuring that as we are giving you this, these are be put in place to maintain it. These have been procured to ensure that these things function effectively.
Thank you.
So these are the issues.
Thank you so much on that, Mufasa. Statistics have shown that the chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Monday at the flag-off of the Northwest Geopolitical Zone campaign against the use of illicit drugs organized by the National Orientation Agency held in Kaduna. The initiative was aimed at reorientating the public of the Northwest Geopolitical Zone against the scourge of drug abuse. Mawa stressed the urgent need by the government. The National Drug Use Survey conducted by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime revealed an alarming reality for 14.3 million Nigerians aged 15 to 64 use psychoactive substances. I would love to get your thoughts on this. I know you're not a practicing medical professional, but I know you should be conversant with this kind of thing. I'd love to get your thoughts on this.
Well, I really do not need to be a medical doctor to appreciate the menace of drug abuse in the society. I mean, it's one thing that has pervaded the entire country. The way youths, use drugs, abuse drugs, has become a serious call for consent. And for me, the system, the stakeholders shouldn't get tired of talking. It's equally pushing them into the life of crime and criminality.
Why, if I may ask you quickly, why do you think most individuals engage in the use of illicit drugs?
You know what? It's as a result of, the decay in the moral values in the society. There is a huge deficit in moral etiquettes and conducts. Parents no longer have time to monitor their kids. You see, there's a lot of things that if these things are properly addressed in the home front, I'm sure it won't get to this level that we see it has gotten to today in the society. a very huge amount of the young ones are into drugs. And it has even become a normal thing. The way we have normalized the consumption of illicit drugs is something else. So for me, I really believe that we need to go back to the way we used to do things in the time past, where parents see parenting as a full-time job. It's not something you just live like that because of the level and amount of exposure that the young ones have these days, especially the internet and all of that. And as we speak, more of these dangerous drugs, more are coming. Some of the ones that we've not heard of before, they are bringing new ones. So it's now left for the society, the community, to ensure that as you are shaping the society, you are shaping your child, even in the home front, that these kids are properly guided on the harms and danger of drug abuse. Because it gets to a point where you become an addict, and that is the most, you know, the height of it. If you don't take it, you won't even have that you won't have that inner peace.
And then aside the part where you've mentioned the implications, there are also health deficits involved in
exactly. That's why I said it's not you don't even need to study medicine to begin to appreciate some of these things, because you know, of course, that if you abuse drugs, it affects your brain. It affects your sense of reasoning mentally. That is the eye. Then we don't even want to look at those internal damage that you have in some of your internal organs. But what is prevalent in the society today is we see a lot of young people who are going crazy. Just go to the streets. Before you walk from one pole to the other, some of them have turned into junkies. You see them, you know, behaving in a way that is that could best be described as the way an insane person behaves, because the drug has affected that person's mental faculty. You begin to act like a mad person. The ones that are strong enough will take the life of crime, because they will need to be servicing that you know, craving for hard drugs, and these drugs are not cheap. So I want to also use this medium to say that, of course, the current DG of NDLEA is trying.
So aside calling out, aside crying out over the high rate of drug abuse in the southwest and south and other parts of the country, like he has mentioned, what do you think has to be done in order to curb? It's not be a total eradication, because it's
of course you can't do that, because we equally have people who take these things medically. There are people who have prescription for some of these drugs. I'm talking about the tramadol, the cough syrup, and some of these you know, illicit, whatever. There are certain names they call it, but I know there are people who have the medical you know, authority to take it. They don't abuse it, so you can't even remove it completely. You know, but if I understand your question correctly, how can we reduce it to the barest minimum? And that is why the National Regulation Agency, you know, in collaboration with the NDLEA, you know, should come up with a more robust strategy going to schools, secondary, primary schools. You could imagine the level of drug abuse cases in primary schools. Then secondary school, that one has gone out of hands. So the National Accreditation Agency, should step up their game,
Okay.
collaborating with the NDLEA, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and see how they can commence a nationwide sensitization. Of course, they've been doing it before, but they should double their effort.
Because the drug abuse is now on a higher.
It's on a very high side. Youths have now become. They used to say in the past that the youths are the leaders of tomorrow, but the current sets of youths that we see today are desperados. They are always under the influence of these drugs, making them to do certain things that they shouldn't do if they are in their right senses. So these are the adverse effects. And the only way that these things can be curbed, it's not enough to begin to go after crackdown, arrest, and all of that. Let us see how we can even reduce the intake. And the only way that can be achieved is constant sensitization, going to schools, primary, secondary, universities, informing, making them to understand how they should abstain from the use of drugs. That can get to the hearts of some of these people, because everybody has a conscience. And if you are being told constantly that if you stop taking this thing, look, just examine yourself. If you are the type of person that take it every now and then, just stop it for like 1 month, examine yourself, and you see the difference. You will know that this thing you are taking is killing you. So let the agencies, relevant agencies, embark on sensitization. Then the home front, very important. Parents should pay a close watch on their kids. Because if your child starts taking drugs, as a parent who is observant and conversant of your children, you will know, because there are certain things that will show.
Thank you so much on this, Mufasa. Thank you on your thoughts. Well, you actually gave more than I expected from a medical doctor.
Well, like I said, you don't need to be a medical doctor to know some of these things.
Thank you on this. Well, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we will continue with the rest of the stories. To stay with us. Welcome back. Nigerian military has once again assured Nigerians that notorious bandit leader Bello Turji is being tracked and will be eliminated very soon. Chief of Defense Operations, Major General Emeka Onomajuru, disclosed this during an interview on Monday. Major General Onomajuru said that the military is aware of Turji's current location, but said he will not discuss that further. As I speak, Bello Turji is hiding, completely in hiding, and the armed forces is tracking him. The armed forces continuously track him, and very soon he will be eliminated, Major General Onomajuru said. Chief of Defense Operations also, he appealed to Nigerians to be patient with the armed forces, saying that tracking a bandit's leadership can take time in some cases. A Sokoto State lawmaker, Honorable Aminu Mustafa Bolza, last week confirmed the presence of Turji in one of the forests in the Isa local government area of Sokoto State. However, Major General Onomajuru has urged the people of Sokoto to call Turji's bluff and refrain from paying the tax, assuring them of the military's protection. We recall that communities in Sabon Bini local government area of Sokoto State are grappling with a 25 million naira levy imposed by a notorious bandit leader, Bello Turji, as retaliation for the killing of one of his men and the loss of firearms during the confrontation with the military. Well, quickly, before I allow you to make your analysis, Mufasa, when a person, bless you, when a particular person is being tracked, is there not a possibility that that person will be found?
For me, I want to say with every sense of responsibility, and these are my personal opinion, that I'm not impressed with this kind of reports.
Okay. Let's hold you. That okay. You've answered my question. And secondly, if we have to refrain a little bit, there was a time where Nnamdi Kanu was actually tracked and he was found, arrested, as the still situation may be. But here, this is just Sokoto in the country, and then the military is telling us that he has been tracked. They actually know where he's hiding, but he's yet to be apprehended. Please, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, please.
Well, if they know where he's hiding, I'm sure by now what Nigerians want to hear or see is the fact that he has been captured or completely neutralized. When Osama bin Laden was killed, the American government did not inform. In fact, Osama bin Laden was, as at the time he was alive, he was the most wanted terrorist in the world because of the atrocities he committed against the American people and the American state. I can't recall on any occasion where the American government came on national TV or on the pages of newspapers to say that they know where Osama bin Laden is and plans are on the way to go and get him where he is. We only hear on that fateful day or night that the most wanted terrorist in the world, Osama bin Laden, has been killed. It was after the death that they now exposed the process. And it took them months. They didn't come out to give any announcement because they understand how important to conceal those kind of information.
Okay.
It is called classified for a reason. This, what's his name? Bello Turji, or what he calls himself, is a notorious bandit kingpin. In fact, we are aware that he even goes about collecting taxes, collecting levies from the people for protection within the Nigerian territory, like you rightly said, within our territory. Osama bin Laden was killed in Pakistan. within our territory. So coming out to tell Nigerians, and of course equally informing the young man that we know where you are. So it is best for you to relocate, because that's the message. In fact, the man does not even need to pay for information. He doesn't need an insider. The Nigerian military has told him that we know where you are, so it's your best interest to change base. So where is the sense in that?
And then how does this Bello Turji actually get his protection in order to tax these communities? Imagine taxing them 25 million naira for the death of one of his I
think his brother was
killed, and arms that were lost. You know, the fact that these people make this payments, they have actually been making these payments before now. So, and then up till now, there's not been any means of traces or arrests.
The truth of the matter is, I think the Nigerian army, you know, with every sense of respect for the institution, has made a terrible mistake. You know, Bello Turji, I'm sure, like they've informed us, they know where he is. And a lot of people in Zamfara State, Katsina State, and some of those areas that he operates, they say that they see him around. He doesn't hide. So does it mean that we have certain spaces that could be referred to or regarded as ungoverned spaces in this country? Because if he goes about with his ragtag army to collect taxes and other levies from the people who are Nigerians for protection, so who now do you think those people will pay their allegiance to? That is a recipe for disaster. And the disaster is already playing out, because you know, whenever he's broke or he needs money, they go into any community of their choosing, ransack the community, and take hostages with them.
In essence, are we now supposed to say that Bello Turji is more stronger than the government?
No! But that is the impression that these people are giving to Nigerians. The Nigerian state, Bello Turji cannot be stronger than the Nigerian army. So that goes to show that there is something they are not telling us. How could somebody who does not even have the training, the resources, these are ragtag criminal elements.
Then is there supposed to be a little possibility that he has been sponsored?
There are elements, there is a possibility.
There's a hierarchy that
there is a possibility.
Seeing this insecurity.
There is a possibility that there are elements within the Nigerian army and this government, whether federal or state, including local governments, who are associates of this criminal. You know why I said so? Is just one individual with his ragtag armies. The Nigerian army is respected, well structured to withstand any of such criminal elements and the gangs. The question everybody is asking, why is it so difficult to track down that single individual who is not even in hiding? Because like I've said before, people are confirming that he comes out whenever he likes. The only time that you don't see him outside is when informations like this are given to him by the military authority, because for me, This is like giving him information that we know where you are. We know where you are. The reasons why we've not come to carry you or get you down is best known to them. But for me, there's no justifiable reason. If you know where this guy is and you are aware of the amount of terror, miseries is causing the people of that region. Farmers can no longer go to their farms in peace unless you pay such an amount of money to a non-state actor. And we keep complaining that the cost of food is high. There is food shortages, you know. These are the reasons why farmers are, you know, having shortage. These are the reasons why you cannot buy onions, buy tomatoes, buy some of these things that come from that part of the country. They are scared.
So are we all supposed to live in a state of fear, considering the fact that this is what's going on at the moment?
It's not supposed to be like that. That is where the responsibility of government comes into play. Government's primary responsibility is to provide security, which is protection of lives and property.
Well, they have come to tell us, the military, through Emeka, has come to tell us that Bello Toji will be eliminated soon.
They
so
shouldn't.
It's more like an assurance
They should just go ahead and eliminate him and tell Nigerians that this notorious bandit kingpin that has been causing terror has been neutralized or has been apprehended, as the case may be. So when you come to tell Nigerians, you are giving people the impression that already before now, you know where this man is, you are aware of the crimes and terror is causing the people living in that region, trickling down to these parts of the country, giving other young Bello Tuji, because what the delay is causing is there are other young Bello Tujis, just like the case of Abubakar Shekau, that was killed several times until he was finally killed by ISIS, by his own people. That was when he died, you know, for real. So as much as we appreciate what the Nigerian military is doing, a lot of them, you know, good soldiers have paid the ultimate price and their families are bereaved and all of that. Our heart goes to them. We appreciate what they are doing, but the military hierarchy shouldn't allow their officers and men die like that. Let us be serious in fighting terrorism, banditry, and criminality, so that Nigerians, both those living in the north, would have some level of confidence in the system. You will not be, you know, more comfortable paying taxes. Because when you are paying taxes to a bandit or a terrorist, indirectly you are pledging allegiance to that group.
Thank you.
And it's not good for progress.
Thank you so much on that. Well, in as much as, yes, so we're trying to wrap our head.
Insecurity anywhere is a threat to security everywhere. Young groups, that impression that one day they will grow and become more powerful as the Bello Tuji, because they have seen that it's collecting them. And like the African tradition goes that if abomination stays too long in a society, it becomes a way of life. So let us not begin to not continue to encourage this sort of thing.
Thank you so much in that, Mufasa. Moving forward, nationwide premium motor spirit petrol scarcity looms in Nigeria as the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, on Monday gave a 7-day ultimatum to withdraw services across the country over the non-payment of bridging claims amounting to 100 billion naira. The chairman of the IPMAN Depot Chairman Forum, Yahaya Al-Hassan, disclosed this during a press conference in Abuja on Monday. According to him, the Nigerian government, through the National Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, had the presence of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu. He revealed that northern depots, comprising the Jos Depot, Gusau Depot, Mina Depot, Suleja Depot, Kaduna Depot, Kano Depot, Gombe Depot, Yola Depot, and Maiduguri Depot have become completely grounded due to this lingering debt. IPMAN also frowned at the 5% levy imposed on its members by NMDPRA. Al-Hassan said if this if they don't pay our money within 7 days, we are going to withdraw our services across the nation. One of those promises was made by the NMDPRA at the stakeholders meeting convened on the eve of the last strike action declared by NATO at the stakeholders meeting. The Nigerian Association of Nigerian Transport Association listed the same Ipman bridging claims as part of their demands before the strike action would be called off. Before this came up yesterday, what do they call them, has come to cry, or ATCON has come to cry out that there's been shortages of diesel in Ogun and Lagos State because of this, the tankers of loaders decided to embark on their own personal strike due to exhortation and what other reasons that they gave. So imagine that Ipman decides to go on this strike that they have, put there to embark on. It's really going to heap on Nigerians, because as it stands, we're still trying to wrap our heads around the 1,000 plus price of petrol per liter of petrol in the country. Imagine this happens, how disastrous this would be. Well, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, please.
The back and forth, it's really quite unfortunate that we'll still be having, this kind of discussion, especially now that Nigerians are already passing through a lot. It's not the kind of news that the Nigerian people want to hear. Already we are facing difficult times. Getting some of these petroleum products is Herculean. Even if you have the money, you think of other things that you need to do, and you look at, you still need to get this and all of that. So Ipman and the Petroleum Downstream Regulatory Agency, I think they should look for a way to find a common ground. We don't want a situation where, there will be scarcity, and when there is scarcity, usually the price of the products goes up. We are told that, they've removed subsidy. I don't know, bridging and subsidy, I don't know how you, distinguish between the two. But as far as I'm concerned, if there's an agreement, which they are hampering on, if there are agreements, reached before now, I think it's only fair and just that that agreement should be met. You don't go into an agreement with somebody or a group of people if you have no intention of meeting with the conditions of that agreement. That is usually the problem with our government. Not just this one, subsequent governments. You don't hastily agree on something if you don't have the capacity to meet the conditions of that agreement. So for me, they are saying that we've already reached an agreement and you agreed with the terms and conditions. So why is the government agent? If there are certain regularization, reconciliation, you need to, confirm, because I was meant to understand that, that bridging is what they pay to augment for transport. Yes. And honestly, you also need to do some fact checking. You must fact check before you make payment. But the other easier way of ensuring that these things are done without this kind of delay, these are monies running over billions of naira, and now they've threatened to go on strike. Like Riley said, the what do you call it now? What do you call it? Telecom, or what? That the cost of diesel has gone up. Tankers, drivers are threatening to go on strike because of, the monies that they collect from them. Everything is in disarray. I don't know why is it so difficult to put things right in this country. So the NNPCL, which is the parent body that oversees all that goes on in the petroleum sector, should equally wade into this matter. The Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstream, the House Committee on Petroleum, should equally see how they could wade into this matter. So, subscription by, so who is in charge? That everybody does whatever he likes? Is that how to run a country? So for me, if you have entered into an agreement with somebody, you are obligated to meet up with the terms and otherwise, why did you go into the agreement? They did the same thing with ASU. They did it with ASUP. They did it with resident doctors. It's just like a recurring decimal of shame. Why go into a covenant that you have no intention to keep? They should try to meet up with those things and ensure that these people don't go on strike so that they don't throw this country into chaos, because Nigeria is already in a boiling point. If it boils over, the effect will be devastating.
Thank you so much on this, Mufasa. We really enjoyed your analysis today. Well, unfortunately, this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Blowout. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, viewers, for being with us. Do not forget, we are still open for adverts, placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials on Facebook and YouTube, on Atlantic Television Network on Instagram and TikTok, on Atlantic TV Network 1, on Twitter, on Atlantic TV Net. You can watch us live on our website at www.atlantic.net.org.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Open conversation comes to shortly. Do not go away. I am Chidima Mwandike.